What a great speech by Mariam Rajavi. This is the 6th international rally organized by the Iranian resistance calling for regime change in Iran. In the past few weeks, supporters of the NCRI, the PMOI, have gathered in great rallies in Brussels, Washington, Berlin, Stockholm, Tirana, and now here in London. But please remember, today we are also commemorating the 10th anniversary of the July 2009 massacre in Camp Ashraf, when over 1,000 heavily armed Iraqi troops, acting on direct instructions from Tehran, attacked the unarmed refugees, murdering men and women. But 10 years later, after suffering many attacks and massacres in Ashraf and in Camp Liberty, we have seen Ashraf 3 miraculously rising from the ashes again in Albania. And today, can we send to our brothers and sisters in Albania our greatest respect for their courage and their perseverance. You know, we have shown the world in the past few weeks the strength of our movement. I just want to say today, I hope there is somebody here listening to this great rally from the Guardian newspaper. They are the mouthpiece of the mullahs. They should be ashamed of the rubbish that they publish. It's a disgrace that newspapers like the Guardian still pursue the failed policy of appeasement with the theocratic fascist regime in Iran. Why don't they give their support to the Iranian citizens who are demanding regime change and a return to democracy, human rights, women's rights, justice, peace? These newspapers claim that the West is faced only with the choice between war and appeasement. Well, that is a false dichotomy. Making concessions to this regime simply emboldens them and confirms their view that the West is weak. We do not seek war, but we seek courage. We seek resilience, not weakness. We must show our support for the Iranian people and for the great Iranian resistance. We need to demonstrate our support for the resistance and for the Iranian people. Now, prior to last weekend's seizure of the Stena Imperil, the mullahs had sabotaged 6 oil tankers in the Gulf, shot down an American drone, supplied missiles to their Houthi rebel proxies in Yemen to fire into Saudi Arabia. They supply weapons and personnel to prop up Bashar al-Assad's bloody civil war in Syria. They support the terrorist Hezbollah in Lebanon, the brutal Shia militias in Iraq. And now this criminal regime has added international piracy to its long list of transgressions. Iran, despite its rich, civilized and open culture, has become a universal pariah. Its clerical fascist regime condemned for human rights abuse and the export of terror, while its 80 million citizens struggle to feed their families. This is a regime that has executed tens of thousands of political prisoners, a regime that flogs, amputates, immolates, gouges out eyes, hangs people in public, A regime that has executed more than 3,500 people, including women and children, under the so-called moderate Hassan Rouhani. Inside Iran, the torturers and executioners are now busier than ever, determined to crush all opposition under a tidal wave of fear and oppression. This is a dictatorship that governs through corruption, bribery, blackmail, extortion, and fear, that has arrested and imprisoned over 10,000 peaceful protesters during the ongoing uprising that has raged across Iran for the past 18 months, where many of those arrested have been tortured to death or have simply disappeared. This is a regime that Mrs. Rajavi has just said, who mobilize its Gestapo, its MOIS, to track down and eliminate political opponents in Europe and right round the world. It uses its embassies as bomb factories and terror cells plotting atrocities. Ladies and gentlemen, we should close every Iranian embassy in Europe. We should expel all Iranian diplomats. And Britain must follow the example of America and blacklist the IRGC and the MOIS. This is not a regime that should be appeased or mollified. It's an evil regime that must be toppled. And the Iranian people have lost their fear. Revolution is in the air, aided and revolution will be aided and abetted by the brave members of the MEK, especially in the resistance units in almost every town and city in the country. They risk their lives daily to bring an end to this evil tyranny. We applaud the courage of the Iranian people who have risen up against this terrorist regime. We want them to know that here in Europe and here today in London, we give them our support. We stand shoulder to shoulder with the resistance and with the MEK. Thank you. Now it's my great privilege to introduce to you the wonderful and legendary leader of the resistance, who will make in a short video. I give you Masoud Rajavi.